answer lies in the heart of battle.
King of Iron Fist Tournament.
Mugen TV versus Corner.
Welcome to the stage of history retold.
Hey guys, it's MugenLord here, and I'm back again with another video. And today I want to discuss EVO 2020. Now, what's up with EVO? We all know that right now we're going through, I guess you could say, a global pandemic right now. So a lot of companies, a lot of organizations and events that requires a lot of people to gather into one place. Now it's not possible because we have to do the whole social distancing thing. So a lot of companies have to really think on their feet about what they have to do in order to continue to keep these events going on. And right now we have the FGC, the fighting game community, had to figure out what they're going to do as far as EVO is concerned. Now, before I even dive into this, if you guys are new to the channel or are not too familiar with the FGC and their events and everything like that, and you guys want to know what EVO is, just to summarize what it is, EVO is pretty much like the Olympics or like the Super Bowl of fighting game tournaments, where players from all over the world gather at one place and compete at a very, very high level for amazing prizes as far as money is concerned, and also we get reveals to upcoming DLC for fighting games, or get reveals to new fighting games that's in the work as well. So since this whole pandemic situation has been going on, everybody's been wondering what the hell is going to happen to EVO. Well, a few months ago, first it was mentioned that it was going to be canceled, or it was up in the air it was going to be canceled. Well, we finally got confirmation about a few weeks ago that they decided that they're going to do EVO 2020 online. Now, you hearing that, and especially if you're part of the FGC or if you love to play fighting games, you know that Netcode and just fighting games and online netcode just doesn't mix. It's like fighting games have yet to perfect that. You know, it's different when it comes to other multiplayer games and competitive games, like your mobile games like League of Legends, Dota 2, or your first-person shooters like Call of Duty, Halo, and Overwatch, and all these other first-person shooters. You know, the online netcode, you know, functionality pretty much services those games pretty well. But when it comes to fighting games, you need that on point, you know, precision when you make contact with your opponents, the one frame links, you know, you be able to read your, you know, your opponents in space and zone. You need everything intact in order for you to play at a competitively or an acceptable level when competing in fighting games. So now hearing that this news that EVO 2020 is going to be online, I know a lot of people are saying like, man, this is a disaster waiting to happen. And to be honest, I'm saying the same thing. Or, you know, maybe, you know, after seeing lists, maybe I guess you could say my expectations may be a little bit more, I guess you could say, positive towards this. So we want to dive into the EVO 2020 list, and you'll be surprised that it's one particular game that's pretty much also missing from the list. So we're going to go through the list, and then we'll continue on from there. So one, we have Under Night in Birth. We have the Tournament of Champions. Now, I believe the Tournaments of Champions is the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Invitational, where they going to grab some of the best old school or some of the best Marvel vs. Capcom 2 players to pretty much fight it out in this bracket. We have, of course, Dragon Ball FighterZ. We have Tekken 7. We have Street Fighter V Champion Edition. We have Soul Calibur 6. We have Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. And of course, we have Samurai Showdown. Now, there are a couple other titles that's going to be open entry or open registration or open bracket, which we have MK11 Aftermath. We have them Fighting Herds. We also have Skullgirls. And plenty a couple other titles that's going to be and also Killer Instincts as well, which is pretty interesting to hear from those titles, which we haven't heard from in a very long time when it comes to EVO. Now, after I mention all of this right now, and after you see the list and the other games that I have just mentioned, what game on that list is missing? And this game was, of course, an EVO of 2019 and had a big entry of, you know, players who pretty much participated in EVO 2019, but yet this title isn't here at all. I'll give you a quick second. You guys figure it out? Well, of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is not found on any of these lists at all. Now, why is that? Well, why is that? Like, how come Smash Bros. Isn't there? Even though Smash Bros. Ultimate had proved even last year that they had the highest number of, one of the highest number of participants that participated in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Evo 2019, and yet it doesn't have a slot here at all. Now, if you look at the list, a lot of these games does have something, I guess you could say, in common in a way. Some better than the others, but if you notice, this is Evo 2020 online, and all these games that you see on this list, in some shape or form, have somewhat good netcode compared to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, there's been reports or there's been news surfacing around that Skullgirls is receiving an even better patch for the netcode for Skullgirls. They said them fighting herds is pretty good with the netcode. And of course, you know, Super Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition had also received their netcode patch a few months ago and everything. So a lot of these games have something in common, which is the netcode, like I said before. But we all know that Nintendo, for some strange reason, refuses to do anything about their online infrastructure. And I think when it comes to Evo 2020, this really exposes that particular issue, that even Nintendo fans and Smash Brothers competitive players have also expressed to Nintendo, saying, hey, you know, Nintendo, you gotta step your game up. We need better netcode. How you expect us to continue to support this game or continue to play this game when you don't care about the online? Because, like I said, we have this pandemic going on. No one ever expected this situation to happen as far as this pandemic. So now that, you know, organizations have to pretty much switch things up, think fast on their feet, and now they're doing this online tournament, and they're doing everything in their power to pretty much structure how they're going to do online play as far as fighting games are concerned here on out. And Nintendo has they have no answer to how they can continue to have Smash Brothers be represented on Evo 2020 or any other major, you know, fighting game community organized tournament. And the thing is, right now, if you guys haven't noticed, and I haven't played Smash Brothers in quite a while, Smash Brothers Ultimate, because there's so many games out right now, like non-fighting games that I've just been enjoying. I haven't really touched a fighting game in a long time, unless it's Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, because the most recent fighting game my brothers bought it for me for my birthday. But I haven't touched Smash Bros. Ultimate in a while. But lately, for some reason, I don't know, I just wanted to see what's going on in the Smash Bros. Community, and players are having major concerns and major issues with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and its online. The Smash Bros. Communities are trying their best to organize and set up these online tournaments since this whole situation. And the biggest issue that they're having right now is, because of the online, players can't play at their full capacity. And not just that, some characters who aren't really that good, or some characters who are like mid-tier or whatever tier that isn't high tier, some of these characters now become very viable because they take advantage of the online netcode. And right now, the biggest issue with everybody's having right now is Sonic the Hedgehog in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everyone despises Sonic the Hedgehog because of the netcode. There's a lot of moves that Sonic players can now exploit at a high level that players can't respond to, and people are having a ton of issues with the character. A lot of people are upset when they spectate the match because of how Sonic players play online and how they pretty much, you know, camp. They run around, you can't catch them. Sometimes they run the clock out, and a lot of people is having issues. And it's to the point that some online circuits or some online tournaments are even banning Sonic from Sonic players, you know, or Sonic in general as a character, you know, from tournaments because of how bad Nintendo's netcode is when it comes to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I think this is a serious issue. And since we don't have, or we don't know when we're able to pretty much socialize and come together to big events right now, I think this is really hurting the Smash community as a whole because of this whole online situation. And with Evo 2020, the organizers there realize that themselves, like, we can't host something like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because this will be a nightmare to pretty much organize and trying to set up and try to have pretty much an entertaining matches and gameplay to watch from a spectator point of view. And it will pretty much create a lot of frustration to a lot of pro players, and you'll start seeing a lot of characters that would never pretty much appear in most high level play in Super Smash Bros. Start appearing because now you can exploit their toolkit with the netcode. So right now, Nintendo has definitely been exposed. I wonder if Nintendo's ever going to address the netcode, because my personal opinion about when it comes to Nintendo, when it comes to with their hardware and the way they think, they always like one step, when it comes to like standards, like when it comes to the online infrastructure, when it comes to, how they, sell their games, on via the online store. And it's a lot of other things that, other standards that they have, especially using your cell phone in order to do voice chat with the Nintendo app. I don't know why. Like, everything else Nintendo is fine in, but when it comes to like universal standards, when it comes to today's gaming and how we, communicate and everything like that, they just drop the ball. And I don't know why they think that. And the issue is the Nintendo Switch doesn't even have a built-in Ethernet port. So it's telling you right there how how little they care about the online ecosystem and the online environment for their community. So any two times you have to go out and buy a USB Ethernet port, which I had to do for the Nintendo Switch in order to even use an Ethernet cable in order to have smooth gameplay online. That says a lot about Nintendo and what they think about the online service. But this also, like I said before, exposes that, because Evo brings a lot of attention to a lot of these games. It brings a lot of exposures to a lot to a bigger audience for for people who never really played any of these games, and it inspires a lot of people to go out and purchase that game, or to go out and compete and become part of that community of that particular title that caught their interest to begin with in Evo. And this is a big missed opportunity from Nintendo for them to not bring be here in this lineup because of how poorly they handled their approach to the online netcode. So I don't know. I wonder if Nintendo even going to have an answer for it, if they're going to come up with some statement, or if they're going to just later come out with a patch or update to pretty much just fix their online netcode, especially for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then figure out how they're going to just handle their online infrastructure in general. Because Nintendo, you have to do something. It's because as long as we here in a situation where we all have to be isolated from one another, and the only way for us to compete is online, that pretty much kick you out of a lot of of these online circuits, especially if not just only Smash Brothers, but your other Nintendo games, if they don't work too well online. So that's just crazy, man. But I definitely want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this whole situation and looking at this lineup of games? And the fact is that we see, Skullgirls, which I know a lot of Skullgirl fans are probably excited to be able to compete in Evo. And it seemed like games that would never be ever considered, to have had a place on this lineup now has a chance, because they have the online netcode, superiority over some games. And because of that, and they want to keep Evo as entertaining, want to keep it as relevant as possible, because they can't afford to not have an Evo this year. That would really hurt the brand. That would really hurt them, moving forward. So to have it going on, they had to grab games, and it seemed like the games that has the better netcode has that opportunity to shine. So those communities can rejoice. Those communities can show their game that, hey, we're a serious game, we're a competitive game, this is a really good game. And we don't know what could happen moving forward with Evo 2020 after that, and just the whole online infrastructure in general. I have a feeling that because of this whole pandemic, some of these tournaments or some of these organized structures that's being done online is going to pretty much become a mainstay, you know, or they're going to find other ways to implement these things, implement these type of circuits into their physical circuits and everything. So I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's also going to push developers to start factoring in, you know, rollback netcode and you know, was it GGPO netcode and those type of things as well moving forward, because they don't, you know, no one factored that this pandemic is going to happen. And so I think that's going to push a lot of developers to start taking online, you know, netcode a bit more serious. So let me hear your thoughts. What do you think about this lineup? What do you think? What other games did you think deserved or could have had a shot at being at EVO 2020, and what games or what new fighting games could be announced at EVO 2020, or trailers or characters from any of these series that you see here that's on this list? I'd definitely like to hear your thoughts in the comment sections below. Also, if you like the video, please share it, hit that thumbs up button. I'll say it again, the thumbs up button really helps, and you guys engaging in my channel or in any of my videos definitely help, because YouTube has recommended a few of my videos lately, and I've seen a significant boost in my subscribers because of that. So you guys continue to do that, and don't forget, check to make sure you subscribed if you haven't, or if you are subscribed, check and make sure, because YouTube is just unsubscribing people from my channel as well, and that notification bell has been acting kind of wonky, so make sure you hit that as well to be notified for more news related to fighting games and just gaming in general. This is MugenLord signing off. See you game fiends later. Peace out. It looks like you reached the end of the video. Well, while you're at it, check out some of my other discussion videos by clicking on the annotations below, and don't forget to follow me on other social media platforms to stay up to date with future content. Signing off.